Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Sauce. Continuing on with the NFL playoffs. Just got Packers +7. I said I liked the over in the YouTube video, but I ended up playing Jordan Love's over instead. It doesn't matter. It would have won either way. So I'm 2-0 on the day on the NFL ticket. Hopefully Rams +3 comes through. We'll see. But anyway, we got Eagles on the road in Tampa here. NFC Wildcard matchup. Bucs are catching a full 3 at home. Well, a juice 3, I should say. Total sitting at 43. Let's roll.
Welcome to the Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
All right, so the data is showing tickets and handle basically coming in split even on this one. Line was at 2.5 earlier in the week, but for the most part, it's been sitting at 3. It is juiced pretty heavily towards the Bucs, though. I'm sure if you look around, you can find like a -122.5 out there. Let's talk injuries. Eagles offensively, just one big one here. A.J. Brown ruled out with a knee injury, which is obviously huge. Other than that, the Eagles are pretty healthy, though. On the defensive side of the ball, the Eagles are missing Nakobe Dean at linebacker, but that's not new. He's missed most of this season. Little bit of a concern here at the safety position, though. So Reed Blankenship is listed as questionable, and he hasn't practiced all week, so there's a chance this guy doesn't play. The reason that's significant, well, there's 2 reasons that's significant. Reason number 1, he's been pretty good this year. He's been one of the better pieces on that defense all season, so that's reason number 1. Reason number 2, the Eagles only have 4 safeties on their active roster, and the other 2 are hurt. So if Blankenship doesn't play in this game, Kevin Byard is going to be the only active safety on the Eagles roster. So they'd have to either move a corner over or bring someone up from the practice squad, or I don't know exactly how that would work. But yeah, if Blankenship is ruled inactive, Kevin Byard will be the only active safety on the roster. On the Bucs side, Tampa's completely healthy on offense. Baker Mayfield is listed as questionable, but he practiced on Friday and Saturday. And I feel like if there was a realistic chance that Baker Mayfield wasn't going to play in this game, we would hear it getting talked about a lot more than we are. So I'm going to assume Baker plays. Tampa Bay has 0 injuries to the defense, which is huge. That hasn't been the case for them all year. Carlton Davis was banged up for a little. Jamel Dean missed a few games. Both their star linebackers missed some time. Vita Vea missed a couple games. So this is really good timing for the Bucs defense to get completely healthy right before the playoffs. So let's match these 2 teams up on the field, and we'll start with the Eagles offense. And what is going on with this passing attack, man? Jalen Hurts has just fallen into mediocrity, I guess. In weeks 1 through 9, he was off to a solid start. 15 touchdowns, 8 picks, 69% completion, 7.7 yards per attempt, a 97 passer rating. He was 4th in EPA per dropback. He started off the season on a pretty good foot, but then weeks 10 through 18, the second half of this season, completion percentage is down, yards per attempt down, 8 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, a 78.8 passer rating, all the way back at 17th in EPA per dropback. And now A.J. Brown is out. It's really tough to put your faith in the Eagles passing attack right now. And to make matters even worse, he's on the road against a Todd Bowles defense in this one. And what does that mean? It means he's going to see a lot of blitz packages. The Bucs are 3rd in the NFL in blitz rate, blitzing on 39% of their defensive snaps. On the season, Jalen Hurts, when blitzed amongst 43 qualified quarterbacks, 22nd in yards per attempt, 21st in completion percentage, 33rd in turnover-worthy play rate, 33rd. And 29th in passer rating. Jalen Hurts has struggled against the blitz this year. Now, the good news for Jalen Hurts would be the Bucs pass defense hasn't been anything special this year. It's pretty average, maybe even slightly below average. 14th in DVOA, 22nd in opponent passer rating, and 25th in yards per pass attempt allowed. But one thing you do have to say about the Bucs defense is they've defended the pass much better at home. On the road against the pass, 25th in yards per attempt, 28th in passer rating, 23rd in touchdown passes per game, 26th in completion percentage, but at home in Tampa, 17th, 9th, 7th, 13th. And Jalen Hurts does not have the best history against Todd Bowles. He started 3 games against him in his career, including a playoff matchup, just 54.7% completions, 6.1 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, 5 picks, and a 63 passer rating. So Todd Bowles has shown us he can stop Jalen Hurts, at least he's shown us in the past. So right now you might be thinking, wait, how did the Eagles beat the Bucs earlier in the season then? Well, they did it on the ground. They ran the shit out of the ball. 41 carries for 201 yards rushing in that game. And while the Eagles' passing attack has completely plummeted in the second half of the season, as we just talked about, the run game's actually been pretty solid. They finished out the season pretty strong. Their last 5 games, they're averaging 4.74 yards per attempt, over 135 rushing yards per game. So the Eagles have been running the ball. But we do have to mention the Eagles' last 5 games when they were running the ball, 4 of those games were against the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks. Those teams ranked 29th, 30th, and 25th in run defense DVOA this year. So they've seen some really poor run defenses to end the season. The Bucs, on the other hand, have a great run defense. On the season, they're 8th in DVOA, 14th in adjusted line yards, and 8th in yards per carry allowed. That's not to say we haven't seen this Bucs team get run on here and there, though. Like we just said, the Eagles ran the ball on them. Also, we just saw the Panthers run the ball on the Bucs. 29 carries, 131 yards. That's 4.5 yards per carry. Now, the 5 games before the Carolina game, though, they allowed just 3.47 yards per carry. So if you're looking at the last 6 games, Carolina game looks like a bit of an outlier. Situational stats on this side of the ball, edge definitely goes to the Eagles offense on third downs. They're 3rd, Bucs defense 23rd. In the red zone, I guess a slight edge to Tampa Bay, but Eagles offense is good in the red zone, so is the Bucs defense. Overall, on this side of the ball, it's tough to make a prediction. It's definitely a bad matchup for Jalen Hurts. Eagles have to run the ball here, and the Bucs have a great run defense, but the Eagles ran the ball on the Bucs earlier in the season, so it's just a lot of moving parts here. Tough to make a prediction. I think the Philly offense is going to struggle. Now let's flip it over to the other side of the ball, and the Eagles pass defense. Also, huge disappointment this year. Back at 29th in pass defense DVOA, 16th in yards per pass attempt allowed, 29th in opponent passer rating. Since week 10, the Eagles pass defense, 28th in EPA per dropback, 29th in success rate per dropback. They've really struggled to defend the pass. And a big reason for that is the lack of pass rush. Do you remember when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl last year? Big reason why they went to the Super Bowl is they had the best pass rush in the NFL. They were 1st in pressure rate, 1st in hurry rate, 1st in sack rate. They were 1st in everything. This year, 25th in pressure rate, 19th in QB hurry rate, 21st in hit rate, 24th in adjusted sack rate. Things have been so disappointing for this Eagles defense against the pass this season. So then the question becomes, can Baker Mayfield and the Bucs offense take advantage of this struggling Eagles pass defense? Now on the season, the Bucs have pretty good numbers throwing the ball. They're 16th in passing DVOA, 14th in yards per attempt, 10th in passer rating. And in the 4 games leading up to the Carolina game last week, Baker Mayfield looked excellent, completing over 67% of his passes, 279 yards per game, 10 touchdowns to 2 picks, a 115 passer rating. He was cruising. But then last week against the Carolina Panthers in a must-win game, essentially a playoff game for the Bucs, Baker was bad. 62.5% completions, just 137 yards through the air, 4.3 yards per pass attempt is dreadful, a 72 passer rating. So Baker Mayfield in a must-win game, basically a playoff game, was terrible. Now you might be thinking, oh, well, Kyle, that game was on the road in Carolina, though. This one's at home in Tampa. Well, actually, Baker Mayfield's been much better on the road this year. You can see his passer rating on the road is over 100, at home down at 88, 18 touchdowns to 3 picks on the road, 10 touchdowns, 7 picks at home. Now, that being said, his last 2 home games were pretty solid, so he finished off the year with 2 good home games, so maybe we can throw these splits out, but I thought it was interesting enough to mention in the video. Now, what about the run game, though? Is Baker Mayfield going to have run support in this one? Probably not. And it's not because the Eagles' run defense is good. Actually, they've kind of struggled against the run. On the year, they're 22nd in DVOA, 15th in adjusted line yards, 20th in yards per carry allowed, but they've really fallen off in the second half of the year. They were off to such a great start. In weeks 1 through 9, they were allowing just 3.79 yards per carry, 67.4 rush yards per game, 16th in EPA per rush. In weeks 10 on, back at 31st in EPA per rush, 4.65 yards per carry. So another aspect of this Eagles team that completely fell off in the second half of the year. I have great news for the Eagles defense, though. Tampa Bay cannot run the ball at all. They have one of the worst rushing attacks in the NFL. On the season, they're 27th in adjusted line yards, 28th in DVOA, dead last in yards per carry as a team, and they were showing no signs of life to finish out the season. In the last 5 games, they're averaging just 97 rushing yards per game, 25th in EPA per rush, 27th in success rate per rush, 3.4 yards per carry as a team. This Bucs team just can't run the ball. Situational stats on this side of the ball, Edge goes to no one in the red zone because both the Eagles defense and the Bucs offense are terrible in the red zone. Edge definitely goes to the Tampa offense on third down though. 10th to 31st. Got an underdog pick 'em here. It's a 3-pick, so it pays out 6 times. I'm going with Devontae Smith lower than 68.5 receiving yards. Dallas Goedert higher than 49.5 receiving yards. The reason for that, Tampa Bay runs a ton of zone coverage. And personally, I don't really have the numbers to back this up. But personally, I feel like the tight end always gets looks against zone coverage, especially a veteran tight end like Kelsey, Jason Witten. They just always seem to find the holes in the zone when they have chemistry with the quarterback. So against Tampa Bay, that blitzes a lot, runs a ton of zone coverage, I can see Dallas Goedert finding spots and getting some looks here, as opposed to Devontae Smith, high athleticism, big playmaking receiver. I would like to back him more against a team that runs man coverage. And for the third leg, I'm going Baker Mayfield to throw an interception because we may not have had to see it last week because the Bucs were up like 9-0. The Panthers offense wasn't doing anything, but Baker was struggling. And if he struggles again in this one and needs to make plays at the end of the game, he's throwing a pick. It's Baker Mayfield, and he's finally going to come out to play. If you don't have an Underdog fantasy account, it's available in any state highlighted in this map. So if you're in one of these states highlighted in yellow, head over to the website, or you could download the app, Underdog Fantasy. When you make your account, make sure you use the promo code BET, B-E-T. That'll get you a $100 deposit bonus match. So you deposit $100, and they will give you a free $100 to play with. As far as what I'm betting in this game, well, right off the bat, I can tell you I'm definitely on the under. I like both defenses to step up. The Eagles offense hasn't shown us much recently. The Bucs defense finally healthy. I think the Eagles are going to try to grind away with the run game and going to have trouble doing so. Clock will be running. Also, it's Monday night. Monday night primetime unders they've been hitting at an insane rate. So definitely on the under at 43. As far as a side, I hate myself for this one because the numbers are very clear that Tampa Bay +3 is the move, right? It's kind of like Green Bay +7. It was very clear in the last 5 games of the year that Green Bay was every bit as good as Dallas. So at 7, you had to take the Packers. I feel like Tampa Bay's been better than the Eagles to finish out this season. So how do you not take 3 points at home? And I'm going with Philly. I'm laying the 3 points. I just really hated what I saw from Baker Mayfield in what was essentially a playoff game. I don't think he's going to play well. I think he's going to choke. Definitely could see Baker Mayfield turning the ball over a couple times, and hopefully Jalen Hurts snaps out of it and that Eagles offense shows up, but don't have a ton of faith in that. I trust the Eagles playmakers on defense to do something here. So I'm taking Eagles -3. I absolutely hate it, but I do like the under. So under 43, and I'm shamefully taking Eagles -3 as well. If you want my top bets for all sports, parlays of the day, or you want to join the Discord, head over to KyleKirms.com. The information's right there on the homepage. Hopefully we finish out this NFL Wildcard weekend on a positive note. Thanks everyone for watching. It's been a fun one. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.